Hello everyone and welcome to today's live IELTS class. My name is Adrian and I am broadcasting to you live from beautiful Budapest, Hungary, Central Europe. Today is September the 7th and we are looking at a IELTS Task 2 essay. This is the same for general and academic, more or less. It's a problems and solutions type essay. It was requested by one of our members. Hi Manisha, you're the first member in. How are you doing? I'm doing good, thanks. As usual, our materials are coming from our websites, aehelp.com for academic IELTS. I've written the URL up here so you can always see it. And gieltshelp.com for general IELTS. On the websites, we have 6 original practice exams with full audio, an interactive course, as well as over 100 hours of lesson videos. So lots and lots of help for you there to improve your IELTS band scores. Also, you can download our app from your Google Play Store, search for Academic IELTS Help, and look for our logo. Hi, Naveen. How are you doing? If you have questions about IELTS or our products, you can always email me. My email is adrian@aehelp.com. That's my name, at aehelp.com. And here is the schedule for the next 10 days or so. Today we're doing task 2. Tomorrow we're continuing with our course part number 14. We will be looking at some example academic IELTS task 1 essays for that. And then we have one more class on Sunday, which will be a members chat class. And then we have Monday, Tuesday off. And then we're back for another set of 5 classes until the 16th. All right, let's get to the question. So here is our IELTS Task 2 question for today that we will be tackling. Hi, Jeffrey. Good to see you in class. So first, let's read the question and let's take the necessary steps. So we're going to do this more or less the same as if we're sitting in the official IELTS exam. We've written task 1. We did a good job. And now we're going to be moving on to task 2. You can also see this task 2 question in the stream description. So at any time you can have a look there. All right, so the question says, write about the following topic. There's an increasing concern that people spend too much time with digital devices such as mobile phones and not enough time with family and friends in the real world. What are possible causes and solutions for this problem? Give reasons for your answer and include any relevant examples from your own knowledge or experience. Write at least 250 words, so minimum 250 words, and you should spend no more than 40 minutes on this task. So you should spend about 40 minutes. All right, so the first step, as most of our members know, I think by now, is to paraphrase this question. So let's do that together. Manisha, Naveen, Jeffrey, I challenge you to paraphrase this question with me. I'm going to do the same. Try to think about your own words, your own synonyms, antonym, negatives, expressions to paraphrase this question here, and I'll do the same, okay? So there is a growing concern that individuals dedicate too much attention to their computers, such as mobile phones or smartphones, let's say, a little bit of paraphrasing there, and too little time with their relatives and friends in real life. What leads to this situation and how can it be remedied? Okay, so that's my quick paraphrase to make sure that I understand what the question is asking me exactly. Of course, in the official IELTS, you're just doing this in your mind. You can do it on paper. It is a good idea to paraphrase the question on paper as well, so that you collect some good vocabulary and so that you're confident you know what the question's asking and you stay on the right topic and the right controlling idea. Manisha, Naveen, Jeffrey, if you're still paraphrasing, that's fine. Just put it up there. I'd love to read your paraphrase, see how you express this question in your own words, and I'll let you know if I think that's all right. Hi, Mohammed. Good to see you in class. Okay, so problems and solutions question. We're visualizing this. This is probably something fairly straightforward for many of you to visualize. It's very prevalent in the world today, so we often see people just kind of walking around and staring at their phones. For me, when I think about this question, the image that comes to mind is what I often see in restaurants, where a family is sitting down in a restaurant, mom and dad, couple of children, the waiter's there, their food is there, and all of them have their phone in their hands, or sometimes the kids have a tablet, and everybody's just pushing the screen, and there's absolute silence, no eye contact or communication among them. Now, of course, visualizing this, perhaps I'm the dad, and I'm sitting there with my child and my wife, and everybody's playing on their phones, and I'm thinking, hey, maybe this isn't the best way to spend an evening out at the restaurant with my family. So I see clothes, I see the restaurant, I have all these pictures in my mind. Hi, Baljit, good to see you join in. Okay, visualizing again is very important. If you can see the information and you can write it down clearly so your audience or your reader can see the information in your task 2, then you're writing a good task 2 essay. Okay, so visualizing and seeing what you're about to write is a very, very good idea. All right, so now as the second step, when you're doing your planning for your task 2 response, and I very strongly advise everybody watching that when you do your task 2 on IELTS, make sure you spend at least a couple minutes, 3-4 minutes, planning your ideas before you begin to write your essay. This is not wasting your time, this is saving your time, because when you spend 2-3 minutes to plan, you get much better ideas, you understand the structure that you will use for your essay, so you will be writing faster and more clearly, okay? All right, Manisha, you paraphrased the question as, it is controversial that individuals devote more time to their modern gadgets, such as mobile phones, and don't pay attention to the world around them. What are the main reasons for this, and how can it be remedied or solved? Manisha, that is an excellent paraphrase. Good for you. Hats off, really. It's quite different from my paraphrase. It's quite different from the question as far as the words are and the grammar, but it is exactly the same kind of information, or very, very close to the exact same information. So that's a very good paraphrase, and you have some really good vocabulary collection there. So good for you. That's exactly what you need to do, okay? So excellent. So what is this about? We're going on to our critical thinking. I'll maybe open up a new space for that. So what is the topic? So anybody know what the topic is here? So what is the topic? What are we actually talking about here? And yes, Balji, definitely, Manisha deserves a bit of an applause for that paraphrase. That was very good. So what's the topic? Okay, what are we talking about here? Topic is too much attention to devices. Okay, so that's the topic. There's too much time spent with a device. That's the topic that we're discussing. And what's the controlling idea? The controlling idea is 2 parts in this case. Okay, so this is a problems and solutions type task 2 essay. So the controlling idea is the causes and solutions for this situation. Okay, so let's get into a little bit more detail on the topic and the controlling idea. Very important to get a good answer for this. Okay. Hi, Rekha. Good to see you join in. By the way, Mohammed, Rekha, Baljit, I know you jumped in a little bit later. You can see the question in the stream description. Okay. So if you get lost, just look at the stream description for this question. So What is too much time on devices? So that would be the what question. What is too much time on devices? And then let's say more than 4 hours a day spent with computers. Okay, now when I say computers here, I'm using the word computers in the general sense, okay? A tablet and a phone is a computer, okay? A tablet is a portable computer, very similar to a laptop. A phone is, these days, smartphones, they're pocket computers. So computers here, I'm using it as a synonym for digital devices. So don't think about it as a personal computer. Now here, I defined it in my own terms, so more than 4 hours a day spent with computers. Now, of course, that is my definition of what is too much time. Maybe some of you will say more than 5 hours. Maybe some of you will say 2 hours. But this is where it's important to have a definition of the term or of the topic so that your reader will know what you, as the writer, think about too much attention or too much time, okay? So we're getting into that quantitative language, being able to measure what we're talking about, okay? So, and here, of course, we're not talking about work or schoolwork for that 4 hours. So more than 4 hours a day spent with computers for personal reasons. Okay, that's an important little piece here because we need to state that we're not confusing the question with spending time on computers for work or for school. Obviously, the purpose of why people spend time on their devices is important in this case. So then the next question is, why do people spend so much time with devices? Okay, with digital devices. What's the answer? What do you think, members? Why do people spend so much time on their phones and on their computers for personal reasons? Why do they spend so much time using these devices day in and day out? Okay, so Mohammed says one reason is to socialize. Okay, sure. Socialize, that's true. Okay, Jeffrey, I see you're throwing up your paraphrase for the question now. There's a climbing concern or worry that people are occupied with their digital devices way too much, hence ignore other parts of their lives. Very good paraphrase as well, Jeffrey. Again, different from mine, different from Manisha's, but you're absolutely on the right track. So good for you, okay? Naveen says maybe they're more reserved. So here we have to be careful because Naveen, you're giving a different approach here. So you're saying some people are shy. Sure. So to socialize, some people are shy. I'm going to separate this because one, we're talking about personality, and the other, we're talking about what people are actually doing. Okay, and again, visualize here. So picture yourself. Why are you spending time on your phone? What are you doing? Maybe you're posting some pictures, comments on Facebook, right? Maybe you're watching a YouTube video. Maybe you're playing a video game through an application or something like that, right? So picture that. Picture why people are doing that. And Jeffrey, Baljit, absolutely. You were thinking the same as me with entertainment, obviously. Rekha, don't go off topic. If you're talking about work or school, it's off topic. Clearly, we need to spend time with digital devices, a lot of us, for work and school, but that's important for life development and to make money. So it's not a good idea to mix that into this question. This question is probably not asking about that information so much. You could start talking about that, but it would be easy to go off topic. So it's important to identify that here we're not talking about the need for people to use their digital devices, but rather the want, okay? So need would be work and school, obviously, and want would be more games, socializing, entertainment. So careful not to get mixed up. That's why it's really important in this 3-4 minutes of planning before you write to have your ideas separated so that it makes logical sense in your argument, okay? I think Naveen, that was you that said that the reason why people do it is because some people are shy. Why else? Some people definitely like to use their digital device rather than going out in the real world because it creates kind of a filter. So if they're a shy person, then it's something that's less stressful for them or less anxious. So that when they use their devices, they don't get embarrassed as much or they don't feel shy as much. What else? And Mohammed, again, yeah, I thought about that, the learning on YouTube when I said the word. But again, don't mix learning into it. So don't mix the need in with the want, okay? I think an answer that comes to many of your minds is it's easier, okay? So people kind of hide in their digital devices because it's easy. It's in your pocket, it's there. You don't have to make an effort, okay? To contact my friend through Facebook is much easier than actually getting on a bus or getting in my car or jumping on my bike and actually going to my friend's house to sit down for a talk and a tea, right? It takes a lot more effort. So it's more effortless, it's easier, it's kind of the lazy solution to have relationships, okay? Now, this why question, you should realize, obviously, is very important because what we've done here now is we've listed the reasons for the situation, okay? So, of course, we can go to the how question here. So, how? Digital devices offer a plethora of entertainment and social apps like Facebook. It is in our pocket and very easy to use, access, and connect with software and people. Okay, so just some quick brainstorming there. So how does that work? The how question obviously is important for explanation and also to come up with the examples in your essay, all right? Now, for causes and solutions for the controlling idea, we kind of have a repetition of the topic here. So instead of focusing on the causes, let's focus on the solutions. Okay, so what solutions are there? Members, can you think of a couple solutions to this problem? So how can we decrease the amount of time that people spend on their phones and their digital devices and increase the time that they spend with each other in the real world? So how can we do that? And gossip and actors and politicians, Naveen, that's also related to entertainment. So people are using it for entertainment in that sense. Okay, so Mohammed, that's very good. Yeah, that was one very quick one that came to my mind as well. And Jeffrey, you're on the same page. So Mohammed says restrict the usage of devices, set rules like no phones at the dinner table. So restrict usage. And then your suggestion there, Jeffrey, jumps to the how question. Set rules like no phones at dinner, right? Absolutely. We'll get to the why question here in a second. So restricting the usage is definitely one way to do it. What's another way? So what can be another solution to this situation? So how else can we solve it? What else can we do to solve this situation? Any second kind of advice that we can have? It's good to have at least a couple of solutions, the same as to have a couple of problems. That's right, Jeffrey. That's exactly what I was thinking of, is offer alternatives. Okay, so how? What kind of an alternative can we offer, or offer alternatives or incentives? to not using the phone or digital device. Okay. So how can we do that? Yeah, absolutely. So set up programs, right? So set up enjoyable real life programs like going to the movies. Okay, which is actually a little bit a little bit the same. So let's say something different, like going to the park for a picnic. Okay. A little bit better than going to the movies and everybody's then staring at a big screen instead of a little screen. And why? So why are these solutions to this problem? Okay. Why are these solutions to this problem? Well, these help to minimize the time on devices. Okay, so that's kind of an easy one. All right, so there's our planning, and obviously I took a little bit of time here to do that. We were doing some back and forth dialogue, but in the actual IELTS, when you practice this at home, you should be able to produce the paraphrasing, the visualization, and most of these ideas within 3-4 minutes, okay? So 3-4 minutes from your 40 minutes is very valuable time spent to come up with a much better essay. All right, so now we're ready to write our task 2 response. And here we go. Of course, we start with the introduction. The introduction, again, has all of those key parts. So the hook, the background, and the thesis. So let's start with the hook. Obviously, you don't write hook on the real IELTS. This is just for the lesson's purpose. So what is a good hook for this question? Simple statement that catches the attention of the reader, gets you focused on the topic, and it sets the mood for your essay. So what can be a good hook for this? Baljit says some applications even have time limits now for access, so that could be another solution, is actually limiting the use through software. Yeah, that's possible as well. Yeah, Baljit, that's a good example. You could use that absolutely in your body paragraphs. So Jeffrey says people stick with their phones almost 24 hours a day. Okay, sure. Yeah, that's not a bad hook. Any other hooks? I'll write up mine. I'll kind of take from yours, Jeffrey. Let's see if some other hooks come up from our members there. Okay, so it is common to see people's eyes glued to their phone screens all day long. Okay, so kind of similar to your hook, Jeffrey, just with a little bit of different phrasing. So it is common to see people's eyes glued to their phone screens all day long. Sure. Naveen says human relations are on the edge of collapse with the growing usage of devices. Notice my corrections there, Naveen. So you said human relations are in the edge with the growth of usage and devices. Edge there needs a little bit more description, Naveen, to make it clear what you're actually saying. So human relationships are on the edge of collapse with the growth and usage of devices. That would be good, absolutely. Mohammed says digital devices are too common part of people's daily life. Okay, so again, a little bit of missing information there, Mohammed. You need to make it a little bit more clear. Devices are increasingly becoming popular these days. It's not bad, Mohammed, but maybe it's a little bit too general for this specific question. I would target the overuse of devices rather than just generally saying the increasing popularity of devices. So the overuse of digital devices is increasing these days, would be a little bit better. Okay. All right. So here we want to give a background. And the background has definition and importance. Okay, and here we can get the definition from the planning, which is basically what I wrote here: more than 4 hours a day spent with computers for personal reasons. So, started off by saying many individuals spend 4 to 10 hours or more each day on their computers for personal reasons and very little time with their family and friends. Okay, so that's my definition of what I mean by spending too much time with the digital devices. All right. Now, the importance of the question. What's the importance of the question? Why is this question important? So why are we even talking about this? What is the negative result of spending too much time with our phones, our computers, our laptops, our TVs? So what's the problem with this? Why are we concerned about it? Why do we even need to talk about this? Why am I writing an essay? Why did IELTS even ask me this question? Why is this a problems and solutions type? Naveen, retinal problems maybe, so problems for the eyes potentially, but I think that's a small part of the bigger pie. We're ignoring our family. Sure, Jeffrey, that's a good start. What happens when we ignore our family? So what's the ultimate negative result of ignoring the people around us who are close to us, like our friends and our family? So this situation can lead to mental and physical deterioration, as well as breakdown of important relationships. Okay, so that's why we're talking about this, because spending too much time on our phones and on our computers leads to mental and physical deterioration, so obviously problems for our bodies. But let's not forget, the question is asking us, we're not spending enough time with family, so we need to focus the importance on that, and it's the breakdown of important relationships, such as with our brothers, our parents, and so on. Now, you're only writing 250, 300 words, maybe a little bit more than 300, so don't get into too many details because you'll get lost and you'll run out of time, all right? Okay, now, after that, we write our thesis statement. So and I don't want to give you the thesis here because the thesis is arguably the most important sentence in your essay. Again, if you write a good thesis statement, a thesis statement is the statement of your argument here. And in this case, we're looking at a problems and solutions type essay. So our thesis has to focus on the problems and solutions. And members, please write a thesis statement here. So please write a good thesis statement that outlines the structure of our essay and our argument. So our thesis statement will outline our body paragraphs, what those will contain, what order they will come in, as well as, of course, the main points of our discussion. So what is a good thesis here? I'll give you a few seconds to think about your thesis statement and write it down. Again, remember, the thesis will either make the essay if it's a good thesis statement. If it's a bad thesis statement, it will break the essay. Earlier today, when I was doing a bit of work and looking at some emails from students, a few students sent me some task 2 responses to last class's questions. And I think 2 or 3 essays that I looked at today, the thesis statement was, this essay will talk about this in the paragraphs below. That's not good, okay? That's not a good thesis. So just simply indirectly stating that you're going to discuss this topic and controlling idea has 0 or no value. For the audience. And then even worse, I saw a couple essays begin body paragraph 1 with to begin with, comma, and then something, something. Don't do that, okay? I think there's way too many IELTS lessons and way too many IELTS teachers telling students to write at the end of the introduction, this essay will discuss something, something, something. That's not good. Don't do that. Way too many IELTS students doing that. In university, the professor will actually cross that out and they will maybe even say, don't waste my time. Because obviously they will read what you write, so you don't have to say that you will write something. And then just by writing to begin with for your body paragraph 1 has 0 value, because if you have 50 people taking the IELTS and 45 people start body paragraph 1 with to begin with, then you can imagine that the IELTS markers are not going to give anybody extra marks for saying to begin with. So don't do that, okay? All right, so let's see. What are the thesis statements, members, that you're coming up with? So Mohammed says, people are getting isolated and health is getting deteriorated. Don't go off topic, Mohammed. This isn't about health. It's about spending too much time on our phones and not enough with family. So it's not about health, okay? I kind of feel almost a little bit bad now that I wrote the health and so on in there. Okay. Manisha says, people are getting detached from their close relationships. Okay, that's good again for the importance, but it's not the thesis. Jeffrey says, I believe by setting rules to restrict the usage of devices and finding different materials that have similar functions can improve the quality of people's relationships. That's very good, Jeffrey. I would probably write that as the second part of my thesis, because for the first part, I would write about the problems. Okay, so what I would write about here is, in my opinion, okay, express your opinion. It's good to do that. Remember, IELTS is usually a first-person essay. So in my opinion, 2 major reasons for spending a lot of time with digital devices are ease of use and what? So ease of use and shy personality. However, these causes can be remedied or can be fixed, to use another word, by restricting use of devices and planning activities of for people. Okay? So it's a 2-part thesis here. I'm going to read a couple of other thesis statements and see how you did. Manisha, you says, since the excessive use of communication devices is malicious for family relationships, it can be reduced with effective remedies. Manisha, that's an indirect thesis. It's still much, 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 much better than writing in this essay I will discuss or this essay we'll talk about. So if you're going to write a indirect thesis, Manisha, that is a good indirect thesis, and you could use that, okay? The reason I suggest students not to use an indirect thesis is because they're usually not that good, all right? But if you can come up with a good one, It's okay, all right? If you practice enough and you're confident in that, then you can do it. It's safer to go with a direct thesis that outlines the points. Naveen says, in this regard, I believe restricting the usage of devices by parents and interacting more often than not with family would probably help to overcome the consequences of computer addiction. Yeah, Naveen, that's good. Again, remember, you got to talk about the causes as well as the solutions, right? So good job there. All right, so let's look at this introductory paragraph. If you're going to take a minute to review any one of your paragraphs, if you have a little bit of extra time in that 40 minutes, the best one to review is your introduction. And it's probably a good idea to review it before you even start writing your body paragraphs. So what I'm saying here as a tip or as a strategy to write a strong task 2 is once you finish writing your introduction, just read it quickly and make sure that you're on topic, it makes sense, there aren't some strange or silly mistakes, and you have a good thesis. When you're sure that your introduction is good, it will help to write and compose body paragraph 1, 2, and the conclusion much faster and better. Okay, so it is common to see people's eyes glued to their phone screens all day long. Many individuals spend 4 to 10 hours or more each day on their computers for personal reasons and very little time with their family and friends. This situation can lead to mental and physical deterioration as well as the breakdown of important relationships. In my opinion, 2 major reasons for spending a lot of time with digital devices are ease of use and shy personality. However, these causes can be fixed by restricting use of devices and planning activities of people. How is my thesis? Is it good or can it be better? Let's see what you think of my thesis. Sometimes I throw a little curveball at you to make sure you're paying attention. There is a mistake in my thesis. I'm just wondering if anybody's able to catch it. Again, remember, with a good thesis, you need to have what's called exactly, Naveen. So there's something strange going on, right? So for the problems, I have 2 points here. Here's one, ease of use. And then here's my other one, shy personality. Notice the joining word and. Okay, and then here I have, however, these causes can be fixed by restricting usage of devices. That's my solution number 1. And then planning activities for people, okay, is number 2. The clear mistake, if you're paying attention, is the parallel grammar form. So ease of use, shy personality is not parallel grammar. I can quickly see that just simply from the fact that I have a preposition here. I have of here, and I don't have any preposition for shy personality. So right away I can see that there's something funny going on here. It's not parallel grammar, so I need to change that to parallel grammar. Baljit, good for you. Mohammed, good for you. Manisha, good for you for seeing that so quickly. Always, always, always take a little bit of time when you're practicing at home to make sure that you have parallel grammar. So I'm going to simplify it, in fact, a little bit, and it will still be okay. So instead of ease of use, I can use another word. I can say convenience. Okay, and instead of shy personality, I can just say personality. I can explain that more in the body paragraphs, okay? So a lot of time with digital devices are convenience and personality. Okay, so boom, now they're parallel, okay? I got 2 nouns, good. However, these causes can be fixed by restricting use of devices. And here I can say by establishing rules and activities. So when you're thinking of creating parallel grammar, it's often a good idea to think more simple than more complex. Okay, so instead of making it even more complicated, a lot of students, when they realize, oh, wait, I don't have parallel grammar, it's awkward, they try to make it even more complex, or they try to match up the two. Be a little bit more dynamic. It's often easier to simplify your ideas in order to create that parallel grammar. Okay. Mohammed says the problem of spending access time on digital devices is affecting family relationships and is also for comfort. Again, Mohammed, careful to make sure you're on topic. It's the also for comfort is a little bit off topic there. However, the solution for us is to restrict the usage and also to deviate attention to alternative ways like reading or exercise. Too much information for a thesis, Mohammed. You want to keep it more simple than that, okay? So simplify. It's exactly what I'm showing you here, is make it more simple rather than making it more complex, okay? That's where, of course, vocabulary becomes an important point. Okay, so now clearly what I'm going to write about is the problems in body paragraph 1 and the solutions in body paragraph 2. So in this essay, the way that I organized it is body 1, we'll talk about the causes. And body 2, we'll talk about the solutions. Okay, so the reason I chose this structure for body 1 and body 2, in this case, talking about causes and then talking about solutions, is because the solutions are not necessarily directly related to the causes. Okay, this is an interesting point, so really pay attention to my next few sentences here, because depending on what the problem is in the question, you really have to pay attention to this. So here, the problem is convenience and personality, okay? And convenience and personality, so if I say that convenience is problem 1, okay? So I'm going to give you a alternative here. So let's say that I wanted to do a different way, which is body 1 is about problem 1 and solution 1. Okay, and then let's say I wanted to do body 2 about problem 2 and solution 2. Okay, so this is kind of the two different ways that you could write your essay for a problems and solutions question. One way, write your body paragraph 1 about the causes, a couple different causes, and then write your body paragraph 2 about your solutions. Another way that you could do it is you could write your body 1 about one problem and a solution to that problem. Body 2 about another problem and a solution to that problem. Now, I know that some of you who are watching, you've seen another lesson from me where we talk about the problem of obesity. Obesity means people gaining too much weight or becoming fat, basically. And two causes of becoming overweight. One, it's bad diet. And 2 is lack of exercise, so not moving around enough. Now, what's the solution? Well, eating healthier and moving around more, okay? If my essay question is about obesity or why people are overweight, I would choose this style of body paragraphs, and my thesis would reflect that. Why? Because the problem and the solution are very directly related. So problem, not eating healthy, solution, eating healthy. Makes sense to put them into one body paragraph. Body paragraph 2, what's my problem? Not moving around enough. What's the solution? Exercise. So the problem and the solution, again, they're very, very directly related. But in this case, the problem of convenience, or the cause of convenience and personality, is not so directly related to the solution of restricting usage or rules and creating activities. So in this case, it makes more sense to write body paragraph 1 about the causes, and then body paragraph 2 about the solutions. It's a more clear way to approach this essay. Does that make sense? So this is where you really have to pay attention to the nature of the question and the information. Does it make sense what I just explained to you? Stay focused, girls and guys. I see a lot of emojis popping up. So although they're entertaining, our little emoji friends, make sure to stay focused. So does it make sense what I just explained to you here? This can really, really save you if you understand this and you get this kind of a question. Okay, so Jeffrey says for him it's absolutely clear what I'm talking about. To simplify or to summarize what I just said, again, if the solutions are difficult to directly connect to the causes, use this format. If the solutions are very directly related to the problem, then use this format. Okay? So, Mohammed, makes sense as well? Yeah, absolutely. That's what we're going to do, Mohammed. Yeah, definitely. Good. All right. Baljit, Manisha, Naveen, does that make sense? What I just expressed there? You could, by the way, do them either way, but it's just much, much more difficult. Okay, it's much, much easier this way. Baljit also makes sense. Good. All right, so then let's write body paragraph 1. Okay, so body paragraph 1. Begins with the topic sentence. Okay, so let's start that. Body 1, topic sentence. Clearly here, the topic sentence is our two causes. Okay. So, two of the factors that lead to overuse of digital devices is shy personalities and what? And easy use, okay? Or easy access, because I used the word use already in the word overuse. So two of the factors that lead to overuse of digital devices is shy personalities and easy access. Many people, and then here, of course, my explanation. So many people prefer to communicate with others through screens rather than face-to-face because they feel more confident. They are not worried about being judged. Okay? Also, it is much easier for a person to reach in their pocket and text a friend than to visit their home and sit down in person. Okay? So there is some quick explanation of those points. All right? So explanations. Now, of course, following is the examples. So I'll let you come up with those examples. Okay? Manisha, I can see that you're clear on what I expressed as well. Are instead of is, Manisha, I'm guessing that's a question. I'm not sure which part in the topic sentence. Thank you. Thanks for that plural correction, Manisha. Yeah, it definitely reads better with our shy personalities and easy access, definitely. Okay, good. And think about your real life, quantifiable, visible examples for this. Okay. So, what is a good example for people using their phones rather than meeting face to face because they're shy? I can definitely think of a quick one because there's so many apps for this as well, and you'll probably think of it very quickly also. So, what are some good, quantifiable, specific examples for people preferring to use their phones rather than meeting face to face because they're a little bit shy? Okay. Yeah, saving time is the second explanation that I gave there, Rekha, so it makes sense. Naveen says, for instance, one of my best friends often sits at home and contacts her friends through Facebook rather than hanging out because, okay, so you want a little bit more there, Naveen, but it's a very good start. And don't be afraid to use specific words like Facebook or Twitter or Instagram or something like that. So really express your ideas with these visible details, okay? Because she is a shy person. Yeah, okay, exactly. So Seema, good to see you in class as well. You're jumping in, okay? Yeah, good. So the example here should be a shy person. So you could say, for example, I have a friend who is very, very shy, okay? And then keep going. Jeffrey says, for example, my brother Grossman spends hours on his phone chatting because he doesn't have to worry about the opinions of others or his appearance. Absolutely. Very good example, Jeffrey. Yeah, for example, my brother Grossman spends hours on his phone in his pajamas chatting because in this way, he does not need to worry about others' opinions of what he looks like. Sure, if you throw in the word pajamas, it makes it even that much better. And I know a lot of people do that where they know nobody can see them, so they're just in their pajamas. Okay? Baljit, give an example for easy use. Ideally, you're giving an example for both. Okay? All right. So if I take your advice, Baljit, and I combine it with Jeffrey's, then I have something quite good. So, for example, my brother Thomas is quite shy and he likes to communicate with his friends from home using his phone while laying in bed and wearing pajamas. Okay. This is easy for him, and he is not afraid that people will or people judge his appearance. Okay, so something like that. All right. So just combine your two examples there into one. For example, my brother Thomas is quite shy and he likes to communicate with his friends from home using his phone while lying in bed and wearing pajamas. This is easy for him and he is not afraid that people judge his appearance. However, for this reason, many of his friends have stopped hanging out with him. Okay? So why did I put that last sentence in there? So why did I feel that it's important to include this last sentence to finish this paragraph? We could call this our concluding or connecting sentence. So why did I throw that in there? What was my reasoning behind that? What's the logic or what was going on inside my head or my brain to say, hey, Adrian, wait a second, maybe putting that sentence in there is better. So Jeffrey says, well, that's the problem, right? That's what's happening. That's why this is important. That's why it needs to be solved. Okay, that's the negative outcome of this kind of overuse of digital devices. Absolutely. Never ever forget the main question, okay? If I don't put this in there, I'm starting to feel like I'm almost going off topic, or my response is becoming very loose and not targeting the question enough, okay? Manisha says, for instance, I'm an introvert. Very good vocabulary, Manisha. Introvert as opposed to an extrovert. And unable to make friends in the world, but I have 300 friends on Facebook. I do chat with them 5 times a day at home. Okay, it's a good personal example. Okay, Manisha, very good personal example. You might finish your example with something similar. However, these days, I'm starting to feel a bit lonely because of lack of physical contact. So you might want to finish it off that way, just to show that this does lead to a problem in the long term. Okay. Mohammed says, for instance, my cousin is a shy person and he devotes most of his time to using social applications. Instead of going out to meet people, he feels comfortable just being with his phone. However, these days, he's starting to become very depressed. Okay, so Mohammed, same thing, right? Finish it off with, however, these days he's becoming quite depressed. And then it wraps up the paragraph, and we're clear about a couple of the causes. We have a good example of those. And now we can go on to body paragraph 2. So body paragraph 2 is similar in structure, but of course here we're going to be talking about the solutions. And I'm going to leave body paragraph 2 and the conclusion for homework, members. So again, very similar to what I've done before. You get the idea now. We have the introduction. We have a good thesis, so you should know what to write for body paragraph 2 and the conclusion, and I will leave that as a challenge. That's right, Jeffrey, for you to do at home. And all of the viewers who are with us and watching this, the same thing. So don't be shy. Complete the essay, finish body paragraph 2, finish the conclusion, and send it to me by email, and I will very gladly give you feedback on what your band score would be for your writing on the IELTS. And if I have the time, maybe even 1 or 2 pieces of advice of how to improve your writing. So just write it at home and send it to my email, adrian@aehelp.com. Practice makes perfect. I can show you how to do this all day long, but if you're not practicing, it will be challenging when you get to the IELTS. So understanding is one part, doing is another part, okay? So I hope that most of you now understand how to approach this kind of problems and solutions essay, or causes and solutions essay. And now I challenge you to finish the work at home. Send it to my email. I'll gladly respond with the score estimate. Again, to get all of our wonderful materials, make sure to join us on our website, aehelp.com for academic IELTS, gieltshelp.com for general IELTS. Manisha, Mohammed, Baljit, Naveen, Jeffrey, Baljit, you've done an excellent job today. Very good communication, very good flow of information, some great ideas, great suggestions. I can definitely tell that you are all improving, not just in your English, but also in your critical thinking and your communication skills. And those will bring you success in love, life, and work as well. So keep it up, okay? Have a wonderful rest of your day and have sweet dreams if it's late in your country. Bye for now.